Hello, my name is Kristen. I live in a van with my cats, and I sell and share happy thoughts, and this is the Happy Thoughts Podcast.
Hi, Atlas.
Hi.
We're on Happy Thoughts Podcast, episode 54.
Wonderful.
We're really moving up there in the numbers. Atlas Flynn is here at Omega with me. He's doing all kinds of stuff. I know that you do a lot of hypnosis and writing. I saw that as one of your workshops.
Yeah, writing, poetry, those are the two things. Or just kind of like anything around creativity.
Yeah.
Creating, yeah.
I love that. So how many years have you been coming to Omega?
This is my third season. I was here 2 years ago. I worked in the cafe. Okay. And then last year I worked in campus support. And then this year I'm back sort of temporarily, and it was more so just to teach.
Yeah. Atlas has a lot of hypnosis classes. I'm very intrigued by them. I have not had one yet. But
You're
it's
going
coming.
to,
I will be doing one. So I told Atlas that I have a podcast, and he has a podcast, or you have one.
Yep.
And I get to be on his one day
Yay.
too. So he's starting with a scrappy little podcast, and then we're gonna get better and better, and then we'll be all ready.
You know what? The one thing I do.
This is his microphone. You might notice a new face.
The one thing, and I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I wanted to do a podcast, but one of them was because of things like this, because I knew I was gonna meet people that I wouldn't already meet and get connected with people, and be on someone else's podcast, because I was on. I was a friend from Connecticut. I was on her podcast a few weeks ago. But it's really nice to meet other people and connect with other people and to kind of share and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think when I tell people that I have the podcast, it seems like you're doing something. Also, it's like you're just trying. Anyone who listens to this.
All we're doing is pressing record and, hoping that something good comes out of it.
That's right.
But it's press record.
Sometimes nothing comes out of it.
Sometimes there's no audio.
Sometimes we forget to push power on that microphone. So we agreed on a happy thought. So I'm going to read it and then we'll talk about it. You get to define the terms of your life. Cheryl Strayed. I love so many of Cheryl Strayed's thoughts. Have you read Wild or seen Wild?
The movie?
Yeah.
Is it, Into the Wild or Wild? Or
just Wild.
I'm not sure. That's
okay. So she did the Pacific Crest Trail. So her mom died, and then I don't know if she sold everything, but she was like, I just need to go. And so then she hiked the entire Pacific Crest Trail. And so her book is her journey of that.
Oh, no way.
And like everything she learned from it. And so many of her quotes come from just a dark space and the simplicity that she found on that hike and then just in life. And I like just so many of her thoughts are like, you do get to choose. I mean, all of it's going to be, it's all hard on some level, but I think a lot of us here, like at Omega, it's a lot of us trying to figure out what terms do we want in life, and we're taking a breath of just thinking. And you're part of the staff support of allowing a moment to breathe and just kind of think through what is it that you want to do rather than like, what's the blueprint that has been mapped out for you that you should follow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that are coming to my mind when I was listening to you. It's sort of like we have the power to, what does it say, like name, the terms of your life. So like, and we get to define it. And something I was thinking about is like, we have the power to kind of name things. We have the power to, and the control to define our lives, but also that can change over time. Like how we define something now may not be how we define it later, and that's okay, but it suits us for right now. And so I think through that lens, I think it could be easier to name something or define who we are, knowing that like, it can change, and that's part of it, is sort of like we can define something and it may not be the same in 5-10 years, and that's a beautiful thing.
Because we're always changing. Like we were just talking about this on the last episode too, of just how changing is really the only thing that we do.
Right.
Like it's the only,
Right.
we're gonna die and we're gonna change.
Right.
You know, those are the two main things that we know are coming in life. But then the resistance we have to it, you know, like, oh no, I know this thing, and how long we stay in things that we don't even want because we know what it is. But defining the terms of your life is also, you get to define when you change direction. Like you get to define when you're gonna pivot, and like, and you're the only one that knows that. You're the only one that knows when it's time for something new, you know, because you look the same from that day to the next day, and it's like one day this is right and one day this is absolutely wrong.
Right.
And it's up to us.
Right. And something else was like coming to my mind, like as I was listening to you talk, and I think it just escaped me. So it was, we can change it over time, and that's like the only thing that's constant is things that change. But the other thing that was coming to my mind also, that there's very little that I have control over.
Yes.
But something that I do have control over is, you know, naming and defining my life.
Right.
And how I view it, and the perception.
Only thing you have control over.
It
might be the only one.
And again, I think it's a difficult thing, but it's a beautiful thing at the same time, because you know, what people do, what people say, how they perceive us.
Right.
We have no control over, and that can be, I mean, a degree of powerlessness. But coming to terms with that, I think that there's a lot of freedom of how people view me. It's not in my control.
Right.
But my thoughts, you know, my feelings, the things I'm doing, the things I'm not doing, the things I'm saying, the things I'm not saying, those are all my responsibility, and I'm, you know, in control over.
Right.
And you know, one of those, and that, you know, brings into defining my life. But the one thing that I was thinking about is that a lot of people don't like change, and it makes complete sense. But my difficulty is the opposite.
Oh.
I'm like, I start something and I'm like, all right, let's do something else. And it's like, let's relax for a little bit and maybe do this for a little bit.
Let's
and
settle in and see what could happen.
there's so, I am the opposite, and I need to learn to like, this is okay for now, and you can just be with this, whatever experience in this, in terms of my modality. I'll tend to like, oh, what's something else I can learn and get certified in?
Right.
And it's like, you can relax for a little bit and, you know, just do this and explore this for a little bit. But it's so funny. My issue is the opposite. Like, you need to settle down and chill for a bit and let things change, you know.
When I was a speech therapist, I loved covering maternity leave to get to just start and stop things over and over, you know? Because I was trying to find a way to do what you're saying. I don't want to settle in. When I think of myself in that time and like what I was getting from that, there's a discomfort that we're trying to avoid, also in that too, you know? But what would you... I guess I have two questions, but... Is there a moment in your life that you can define? Is there a moment that you can remember that you felt like I can do something different, or
that I should do something different, or
could? Both. Like taking your power.
Yeah, so I think slowly what I've learned over time is doing the thing that I'm afraid to do. Doing the thing that I know a part of me really wants to do, but I'm afraid to do it. And that's been my cue of, this is something I really need to do if I'm afraid to do, like, want to do it.
Right.
That's
an annoying moment.
But now it's like, so now it's like, oh my God, I gotta do this. I gotta do this thing I'm afraid of again. But that's a time that I've had sort of control over of my perception of it, meaning this feeling of fear or afraid was not a bad thing. Right? That this was like a sign or a signal, and it's now sort of this gentle, oh, this is something you gotta do, like a little nudge now. And so before it might have been crippling, and you know, I had tremendous anxiety a while ago, but now it's sort of this gentle nudge. It's more of a signal or a sign of like, hey, this is a part of your path. There's a lot of freedom taking this path of doing the thing that I'm afraid of. And another time that's coming to my mind is letting go of people, places, and things. Like one time that's coming to my mind, I was in school. I think I had mentioned to you, and I was going back to school for counseling, and I was doing really well. All these external things were validating, like, you know, this is where I should be and things like that. Grades were good. People were asking me to join these different clubs and whatnot. people were telling me, oh, this is just for you. But then internally, there came a point of, this isn't quite it.
Yeah.
This isn't. And
it
I
feels
was
like everything going right makes it worse. I'm like,
and so this is about a year and a half that I was having this, I can't do this anymore kind of feeling. And I've had the feeling before, and I've ignored it.
Yeah.
And at the time, I mean, a part of my story is like in being in recovery. And at the time, I would just drown those feelings in drugs and alcohol. And I was able to kind of continue on, but my life would get exponentially worse. And so, but this time around, I was like, all right, let me step aside from this program and take a break. And so that was the way I handled, I need to take a different path or let go of something. And it wasn't a bad thing. It was, what's happening is just guiding me towards a different path, right? That's like actually easier for me.
Right.
It's just difficult to get back on. It's sort of like my whole life I'm swaying, or I want to be on the spiritual path, and that consists of humility and being of service, and it consists of me doing the thing that I'm afraid of. But sometimes I veer off a little bit just because there's free will, and I'm like...
Right. Well, and curiosity, like being curious is good.
And
you have to figure out, I don't know, I think that's the gentleness of being human. Like we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
No one's doing it right and no one's doing it wrong.
Yeah.
There's literally no way
Yeah.
to do this life other than do your best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just listening to the nudges. This year has just been a huge surrender year, and so like those nudges are just, I mean, that's why I'm here right now. It's like tiny little nudges that brought me here. But then I was thinking about like in terms of when you're gonna do something new, like you're scared of it. And sometimes we can be like, well, I shouldn't be feeling negative emotions about doing this thing, so it must be the wrong thing to do, And it's like what you're saying is like the fear. Sometimes if everyone's jumping off a cliff and you feel afraid of it, maybe don't. Like, you don't need to do that. But also, if there's some excitement with it too, it's like maybe that fear is talking to you.
Right.
Like, there are two types of fear.
Right.
I'm not saying ignore your fear.
But it's so funny you bring that analogy. So there is fear that's running away from a bull, right? It's like, okay, I need to leave, but and that's why I always phrase it up. There is a part of you that wants to do it, but you're afraid it's when those two things are happening at once. If I'm running from an animal, this part of me also wants me to run from the animal. And
we are a team.
So we are gonna leave the situation. But
I don't know. Is it something I actually might want?
Let me tap in. Let me do meditation. Oh, should I just leave? But it's so funny you bring that analogy of jumping off the cliff, because when I was in college, and it was in grad school, and this was when I was ignoring my intuition, my spirit, whatever we want to call it, and I continued to be in the program, and this was in Massachusetts, and my anxiety was getting even worse, and I knew I wanted to leave, but I just continued, or at least take a step back. I had all these terrible beliefs that were just unhealthy. And one of them was, it was not okay to take a break. Like you had to do it to completion. And it was, and this is
like weak if you can't.
Absolutely. And it was like, this is how delusional it got for me. And this is how much I wanted to leave the program. I would be up at night and I would imagine getting hit by a car, because
I have a story about that. Continue.
So I would imagine getting hit by a car and going to the hospital because I desperately wanted a break. But I thought it was so unacceptable for me to like, hey, I need a break. That was so fucked up for me to do that I needed a car to hit me for me to take a break. I eventually kind of realized I've got anxiety, depression, need to see a therapist, and eventually come to terms with I need to go tell them that I'm taking I called it a sabbatical. My therapist, well, a wonderful human being, wonderful man, he was like, this is a sabbatical for you. And I was like, yeah, this is a sabbatical for me. So he was able to define the terms, in a different way.
In a word that you could hear.
Right, and one that like I could deem acceptable. So, and I went, but as I was going to tell them that I need to take a break, I swear to God, the amount of fear was as if I was asked, you need to go to the edge of a cliff, you have to jump, you're gonna be okay, but you have to jump. Yeah. And that's how crippling my anxiety was. Yeah. Of all, just telling them I need to take a pause. right? So that's just something that came to my mind
Yeah.
when you said jumping off a cliff, because I've had that feeling
Yeah.
of like I need to, not literally but figuratively go to the edge,
does
jump,
feel that way.
and then realize that the cliff that I had to jump off was just a curb. Turns out after I jumped, it was just like, duh. It was like, oh, I was actually not that bad. But yeah, so that's something that's been like a part of being able to let go of things, having people to support me to help define, to let go, and to maintain a spiritual path. But yeah, that was one thing that came to my mind though.
When I was in grad school, when I was driving to campus for like anything, I would dream about someone running a stop sign and just hitting me. Like, I wouldn't wear my seatbelt. I was just like, come for me. Where is that hospital bed? I was like, oh, this is bad. This is not a good dream to have.
Was there a moment for you that you realized, because these thoughts that I was having, right? These very negative, destructive thoughts. And I mean, when it got really bad, I imagined myself, committing suicide. But for me, it happened so slowly that I almost didn't notice it. It was like, oh, this is just normal. And it's just because it had the progression or the decline was just so steady over time that it seemed like it was normal. And it was like, oh, everyone probably thinks the way. It's like, actually, no one's thinking that they want to end their life.
And if they are, we all need help. It doesn't mean that let's all jump.
You're actually going to see them soon when you go to counseling, and they're going to be in similar circles.
There's going to be a little line. Yeah.
But was there a moment for you like, oh shit, this isn't, the healthiest thing, and maybe not everyone is having this experience?
I would say for me, like grad school, no. There was not a moment in school where I was like, I don't think everyone was feeling what I was feeling, because a lot of them are still speech therapists and I'm not. So I'm like, okay, we were into this in a different way, but a lot of things happened in my life in a short span of time that were all different aspects. Like they were not all school related. So I was dealing with a lot of different feelings that were just really, they kind of just like compounded on top of each other. So I wasn't thinking about what's what, like, oh, this is stress from school, or this is, you have a new job, or but happy thoughts actually I think were one of my moments where, because it was when I was suicidal at that time, and I was like, I just need to like something that I see when I look at this mirror. I used to post quotes on my Facebook, and so I just started writing quotes that I would write down on my mirror. All of these thoughts are me telling me that if you do nothing today, you're okay. Like if you don't shower, if you don't get out of bed, like if you don't run that meeting, if you do nothing, you are still a good human. And like just trying to wrap my arms around me of like, it's okay. But I white knuckled it for a long time. And then it was interesting, I know this relates to something you just said, I can't remember exactly, but for leaving speech, oh yeah, you're in school when you were like, I have good friends and I have all these things going for me and this isn't right. That's why I quit speech, because there was this day and we were doing, I was not happy for many years, but then I was working from home. It was a Friday, so it was almost weekend. I didn't have any meetings. I didn't have any angry parents. I didn't have anything wrong, and I was miserable. And I was like, well, it's not going to get better from here. I was like, if this is a good day, it's terrible. So I quit by that Monday.
Okay.
But there were a lot of little moments, but I was stubborn about it.
Like little moments of you needing to like
of how to get through. Like it wasn't even, I took a leave of absence from work in my second year or third year of working, but then that was attributed to another thing that was happening. I could always point to, well, if this thing hadn't happened, I would be okay. So I just need to get through one more thing. And then I just blew my whole life up and moved into a van with happy thoughts. I think that was my moment.
Okay.
That was the biggest one where I finally was like, well, okay, we're trying too hard to fit into something that we really don't fit into.
Yeah, you're outgrown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's just so interesting to me now, because you just meet all these people doing this kind of thing. I'm like, oh, yeah, the rules they're not real.
For some people, they are real. But yes, there's like, again, going back to the define, if people want to live by certain rules and a path, like rules.
Right.
For, you know?
Right, but it's like the rules are, like, they're real for you. Like, my rules are real for me, you know?
Right.
Plenty of people would not live by my rules.
Right.
And I wouldn't expect them to. It's very chaotic over here. But is there anything... So my first question was there a moment? And then... Is there a definition in your head of where you want, in your ideal picture, if you drew your life, what would it look like?
Like going forward?
Yeah. Defining what your life looks like.
If I am, yeah. So, yes and no. Meaning, I love to control things and what my future is and what it looks like. And
so do you think you know what it looks like?
I want to say I don't know.
Okay.
So there's things, you know, on one hand, there is stuff that I want to do, and I'll let you know, but at the same time, I want to be open to, you know what,
right.
Whatever happens, you know, take the wheel. My life is just, you know, be on the spiritual path, and the universe, God can just, you know,
right.
be in control, and I'm just going to be along for the ride. So I'm trying to achieve both, right? So like, what I would love is a lot of teaching. So it would be like teaching just essentially what we're doing right now. To like younger kids or kids in college or kids in high school and things like that, because your experience and my experience is valuable. So teaching through stories, but also the things that I've learned over time. Also teaching about meditation and hypnotherapy and the power that comes from our imagination. Whatever we imagine to be true is very powerful, and we can manifest and we can create things. And, you know, empowering the youth, like, hey, like, you know, you are powerful, and what you think of is super, super powerful. So it'd be nice during school semesters, be like going around to schools, and then during the summer go around to like wellness centers. And it would be sort of adults during the summertime, and then during fall and winter, go around to schools. And yeah, just do a bunch of teaching about, you know, life, because I've learned a lot because I've fucked up a lot. And it's valuable.
Best way to learn.
and
most effective.
And I love stories. I love love that you're doing this, and because I love when people share their stories and giving a space for someone to share their story. So yeah, on one hand, that's what I would love to do. I'd love to travel. My plan is, and you know, if my plans change, they change. But it would be like to start in Maine and then travel down south. Okay. And then head out west. I've never been out west. And to like teach along the way. Yeah. And I originally, when I first got sober, I really wanted to, I think I remember telling you this, I wanted to sail, and I wanted to be on a sailboat and just help people. Yeah. But I didn't know what. I was like, I just want to help people.
Me and my boat.
and on a boat and just sail around the world just helping people. I was like, that's fantastic.
If I see other boats on the water, how you doing?
do you need any help?
Would you like some hypnosis?
No? Okay. We'll manifest things. We'll manifest a better life. And then like kind of had to come to terms with like, you know, I don't know how it's gonna happen. And it was like, I get the boat, and then after I get the boat, then, you know what? And I was like, I've carried this desire to kind of go from the north to the south, and so I think I'm gonna go in car, and I'm just gonna go from there. The idea is to start traveling and teaching, and of course, you know, want to go abroad. That'd be fantastic to do.
That's when the boat comes in.
Yeah.
Scoot right over the ocean.
Right. But yeah, that's what I want to do, and I think that's what I am going to do. But again, I really try my best to be in this place of humility of I don't know.
Right.
Like I really don't.
Because it's actually true.
And like I just don't know what my future is. I think it's going to be many things. Yeah. And I think there's going to be periods where I do this, and then periods where I do that. And my job is just to be open for those things to happen, and not like force anything, and try to be like, oh, well, then that will happen, and then this, and then that, and because that happens, then that will happen, and
a path to disappointment is what that is.
And then it's like, oh, none of that happened. Great.
Yeah, but then like better stuff happens, and you're like still focusing on that.
Yeah. So that's I guess that's my
like
plan,
it.
And I wanted to, along the way, to continue interviewing people and their turning points for the podcast.
Yeah.
So like teach classes, but then provide space for someone to share their story.
Right. I love that.
Yeah, and like I would have, I'm sure I'd just like here meet interesting people to share their
That's
skills.
why I started this one, because I was just like, I want to talk to the random, because like I meet random people, like in a store who like, and I didn't have the podcast at the time, but like there's a bunch of really cool people that it'd be fun to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely.
While you were talking,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about, I kind of forgot about this. So when I'm handing out happy thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
it's become like a social experiment with, who says yes, who says no, how they say yes, how they say no, who connects to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a very equalizing thing where like all ages, all like religions, genders, races, political views. And I'd be curious your take on this. So I ask every person if they would like a happy thought. And if there's men in a group of women, the women talk over them in 2 seconds. Like the women are the ones that respond to me, and the men like stand in the back, and they don't really say anything. And then I specifically say like, "Would you like one?" And then they almost always say yes. And like there's like a sweet little face, and like they're happy too. This moment was like, we're not accessing men in terms of, it felt like I was having all these sweet little happy thought moments with a bunch of women, and I'd have them with men, but it was harder to like get to them almost. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I guess when you talk about your anxiety and your depression, and then with where you want to go, do you feel in your work that there's a connection that you're seeking or wanting to offer to men too? I was just thinking about it as you were talking. I was like, I wonder what your observations have been, I guess, just accessing and making it available and comfortable for men to feel.
Yeah. So no, so that's I think I'm picking up what you're
okay.
I'm
trying to be so careful, and I also don't know what I'm saying.
No, you do know what you're saying. So it's important for these different identities to be in different spaces, right? So even I'm thinking about there's different races that need to be represented in different spaces. The fact that women being spaces of like business, right? It's important to see people to offer others and people in younger generations a reflection of them, so they can easily see, oh, I can be these things, and we can have like a variety of people with a variety of experiences in different spaces. And so it makes things accessible and more acceptable. Yes. Right? And so I know that being a man in some of these wellness or mental health spaces is really important. And I know also men of color, and that's super important. But yeah, I think it's important I think what I'm doing is wonderful. Like because it's just, it's what I love doing. But also I'm offered to be a reflection of other men. To kind of say, hey, it's okay to talk about these things, and you don't lose your masculinity. If you are open, if you are honest. We can like define what masculinity is. Right. And my, it's, in some ways it's like similar, man and woman, and what makes a person great is sort of like equal, meaning as long as you're, for me, doing the thing, if you're honest and open and like you have humility, that's what I value. Being able to like do and say the things that you're afraid of is a value to all genders. But yeah, I do agree that it's important for different identities to be in different spaces, and in particular, this one for men, so that they can, see like a little reflection of themselves, and someone that's bald with a beard and that likes to go to the gym and work out, and like, we can be masculine, but also at the same time, embrace these more feminine features, and that's okay to, you can be many things at once. It's not just one thing. Right. And so you can be masculine, but you can, embrace creativity, which can be somewhat feminine. That's like, okay.
Right.
being
Which is crazy.
Right. But it's like, it's the like openness and creativity, being in touch with our emotions. Those are like feminine traits, and it's okay to embrace those things.
Right.
Because like who and what we are is many things. It's not just one thing.
Right.
And you don't lose other parts because you're engaging in all these other things. I mean,
right.
For a while, I was terrified of being on stage and terrified of doing any sort of acting or theater.
I am.
And
I'm still there.
And part of the reason is because when I was growing up, these feminine qualities were tied to sexuality, right? And so if you were feminine, you were deemed gay, and that there was a lot of trauma and a lot of shame tied to those. So for the messages that I got, like within society and growing up and just friends and family, was, if you're expressive and if you're creative, that those are traits of someone that's gay, and being gay is not okay. And those are the messages that would just keep on happening. And so I would just prevent myself from doing any of those things. And obviously all those are not true.
Right.
And so, and now in a place where I'm doing the play for Omega. So you don't, just because you embrace certain parts doesn't mean you lose others.
Right.
And in fact, just in terms of men, when we are engaging in these more feminine qualities, it's because we have we're very confident in our masculinity.
That's who you are. Yeah,
it's like, and so I'm very confident in who I am and me being a man or having these masculine qualities. So that's why I can step into these more feminine parts or pieces. So I think it's a long answer.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. I think it's really cool to be offering that and just being an example in those spaces. And I want to have happy hangs with men. Happy hangs.
Happy
I started
hangs?
groups.
What?
I'm giving up the bravery to do it here.
Okay.
I started them last year though, and I did with hospitals and treatment centers, and I did them with a group of kids with autism, and it was so fun. We just pull happy thoughts and then we read them.
I think I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah.
So
it's great.
You started doing them.
Yeah.
And you're going to start doing them again?
I want to do one. I want to do a staff program and just offer them here. I just have been too scared. But I was pivoting the business last year in October, November.
Okay.
Because I was going to markets selling happy thoughts, and it's a lot to do a market because nobody knows what this is. So like I give a happy thought, I tell you a little bit about it, and then if you're interested and you want to hear the story, then you buy, but you're not coming to a market to buy happy thoughts. I think I've had like 3 sales in 3 years where someone's like, I want this. I'm like, what? Like, where did you hear about it? They're like, I haven't. I'm like, okay. It's very new for me. But I want to embody it more, and that's what Happy Hangs were the start of just like helping people see what they can do and how they can help you, how they can, if you share them. Even having a group, I call it Rogue Happy Thoughting, where I put them in street manners or library books or just leave them around. And it's for me when I do that, like it really does lift me up. But it'd be really fun to do as a group, like I collect rocks and shells and I write happy thoughts on them and then I hide them. I write the happy thoughts in chalk outside with people, and it's really play and fun based, but you're leaving loving thoughts behind that someone's going to see on the sidewalk. Like you're part of that. Anyways, that's what the groups were. So I was working towards doing that at the end of last year, and then everything changed. So the business is going to go in that direction, where I was doing happy installations where we would do a happy thought wall and people would write their own and that kind of stuff. So that's
to use this for classes and in hospitals or schools. Or
I want them to be a living product, where you're using it in your classroom or you're using it for staff, or I want them to kind of help systems even, whereas are the leaders being supported. But that was all like dream world, and then the world crashed. So I was like, I was trying to hang on to it. And then I came to Omega. So hey, here I am.
Yay. No, but I love how you're using this to, I mean, the benefits of this. And it's sort of like creating a space so that people can kind of like, it's changing your thoughts and like, noticing how you feel when you're writing about these things and the fact that they changing their thoughts. And it's like, even though you're sort of assisting, they're the ones that changed their thoughts, and so you're in control of define. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're,
and I have all of these memorized now, because I've written them so many times.
Which is impressive.
So it's
there's a lot.
There's so many.
There's a lot of them. So you've got a lot of happy thoughts in your head.
I'm so annoying when my friends talk to me about problems. I'm like, well, there's a happy thought. I can't help it. Maya Angelou said it, so it'll be a note with her. But yeah. But it's been thank you so much for talking with me, Alice. This was a great conversation. And your podcast is, what's it called?
This Thing Called Life.
This Thing Called Life. Mm-hmm. And it's based on storytelling, right?
Yeah, it's similar to what you're doing, but the idea is everyone has some sort of turning point in their life. What that turning point is, how they got through it.
That's funny, because I was not thinking about that when I asked you the first question today. Yeah. I was like, what was your turning point, Alice? Can I just take your whole idea?
That came to my head.
I did not.
No, you didn't. I know. I know. But I mean, I think it's perfect. I think it's matching up perfectly. But yeah, so it's about the turning point that everyone has. Combining is, I'm not going to go into details, but when I got sober, right, that was a big turning point in my life. And there's big ones and small turning points, but everyone has these things shift in a different direction. Right. So it's describing those instances, but also how we got through these turning points, because turning points can be difficult. I think they most certainly are. I think that's a criteria. Yeah. And you're right. Yeah. So, and it's idea so that people, one, it's wonderful, and it's allow someone to be vulnerable. It's a powerful thing, and to empower someone to share their story, but also it can be a powerful thing when someone else hears their story and us. And then after they kind of shared a little bit about their turning point, it's something important that they want to talk about. So maybe it is maybe they are a yoga instructor, maybe they're a practitioner, maybe they're an artist, anything that they kind of want to share with people. So turning point, a little bit about their story, and the other is something, maybe it's research, or, maybe it's, anything that's important to them.
Well, on that note, is there anything you want to leave on, just your contact information or your webpage or whatever, where if people want to find you?
Sure.
He's going to be traveling with his hypnosis.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll be coming to a town near you.
Let's
It's going to be worldwide. So
worldwide.
Just get a boat.
It's so this thing called life.center. Okay. This thing called life.center. Go to my website. My contact information is on there. I don't have I don't remember my Instagram. I think it's,
don't go to it.
But I've been trying to be more active, even though it's something that's being on. So it's just not.
It's not. Nobody wants to be there.
Yeah, it's very difficult for me to, taking pictures. It's a lot of effort. So the people that do it, my hat's off to you. And if there's anyone out there who wants to help me with my, that'd be fantastic.
Reach out.
But I have an Instagram, a TikTok, and YouTube. Maybe I'll share them, and you can put them in the
it'll
description.
be in the info thing. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say this thing called life.center is a website where there's a lot of information.
Perfect. That's where you can find Atlas.
Yay.
Such your name word. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're done. Episode 54, right? 54. I know. I don't know why I do this all the time now, but yeah. Okay. Done.
And cut.
Done.
Thanks for listening. Happy Thoughts are available on my website, thehappythoughtproject.com, and Amazon, and Fair for Wholesale. And we're on the Instagram, Happy Thoughts by Kristen. If you want to follow or leave a review on the podcast, you'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you, YouTube viewers, for being here.